KCAAradio.com.
KCAA.
KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, NBC Radio News, the stations that leave no listener behind. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Westwood along with Donald Williamson on the Donald Williamson Taxsaver and More show. Hello, Donald.
Hi there, Mark, and hi to all of you radio listeners out there in Radio Land.
It is Christmas upon us.
They practically bypass Thanksgiving.
I know it. It's just like hyperspeed. And, of course, it's always fun. This is the best time of the year ever. And we love Christmas. And we already had an open house here at the Teamsters yesterday celebrating Christmas. I have people running around the hallways as we speak decorating for Christmas here at KCA, NBC Radio, KQLH, KFXM, and the whole nine yards. We got Eric in the control room. Good afternoon, Eric. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. And lots of things happening around here. We have a lot to talk about today. In another part of the show, we are going to have a very fine performance and some music and meet the director and the founders of Symphony Jeunesse Youth Orchestra for Strings. My brother played the violin years ago, and with the San Bernardino High School Symphony, they had a symphony in the high schools. That's something that high schools don't have these days. There's a lot of symphonies or string programs, regrettably, but I'd like to see a return to that. That would be nice. We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about the Riverside Festival lights, but right now we're going to turn to some reality, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to give you the darker side. No, just kidding. Donald Williamson's going to be talking about a little bit about some bank fraud.
Your bank account fraud, and your credit card fraud. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately for me, I've experienced both.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. And I've been hearing your saga for a while now. And, of course, Donald Williamson is the 3-term tax assessor for San Bernardino County, helps you save taxes, and we always do a little bit about saving taxes. But today we're talking about saving the money you have already in your bank account and not becoming a victim. So tell us about it.
Even if you do everything right, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, because the banks, they used to give you your canceled checks back, and now they don't. And then for a while, for a couple of years after that, they used to Xerox it on the back of my monthly statement, little old bitty Xerox ones, and that was okay. And then they quit doing that. Well, every month, you've got to get your go through your monthly statement when you get it. But the problem is, on it doesn't say what checks you wrote. It tells you the date, your number on your check, and how much, but it don't say who you paid it to. And like I had some that was $300. Well, I have about 4 different places that each week I pay $300. So
well, you bank with Bank of America, don't you?
I was trying to avoid.
Names,
I was trying to
but
avoid
I will mention
saying
because
that.
we
But
both,
yeah, that's
both
where it
bank
happened.
with Bank of America.
Yeah.
And when I go on my statement, though, I can click and it pulls up a copy of a check I wrote.
Yeah, you can.
You can do that, yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But I go through, I scan through.
You probably write a whole lot more checks than I do. I think I write 1 or 2 a month.
Well, if it was 1 or 2 a month, I probably could remember it.
Yeah, well, most of the things are digital these days. But I know some people who are maybe of a more older persuasion than I am, and I'm pretty old as it is, like to write checks, and you should be able to do that and be safe.
Well, they fraudulently hacked my main checking account, and it went on for quite some time. And it's crazy because I should have brought one of the fraudulent checks, because I had to have the bank give me all my checks so I could look at them. And up in the upper left-hand corner of your check, you'll find your name and address. Mm-hmm. Not on this. They went out and got their own checks, and it had some city name. Wasn't even one from around here. And then down where you sign your name, didn't have my name. So you couldn't even accuse the guy of forgery, because he just put a big BL there for his initials, I guess.
Boy, they've got a dozen different ways, don't they?
Yeah, but so But it went on. I thought it was just in 2025, and the bank we caught them 4 times. I found it. The bank never did, and then the fourth check was within 90 days, so they canceled that and made me good. But the other 3, they threatened not to make them good because it was over 90 days, and I said, "You're going to do it. You're going to make them good." Well, as it turned out, before it was all over, they did, but before it was all over, while we're working on this, because it was still open, see, I had some auto pays. That is the big problem. Then I had also auto deposits. That's another big problem. And so they that made it a real serious problem, because how do you close it? For most people, you wouldn't have my problem. For most people, you just cancel it, get another account number, and go on with it. But in my case, because I had auto pays, I had to figure out, because I have so many. I got 2 credit cards. I have auto pays on each one of them. On my bank account, I got auto pays on it. And the bank couldn't even tell me which ones they were.
I didn't lose my debit card. Somebody got my debit card and charged something in Florida at a Walmart. And they called me up, and I said, "No, I'm not in Florida at Walmart." And he said, "We didn't figure because you just charged something at Target in Redlands." And I said, "Yeah, I don't go to Walmart." Anyway, I do actually. And so they said, "We figured you couldn't be in both places." And I said, "Yeah, it's fraud." And they immediately cut off my debit card. It was on a Friday afternoon, and I didn't have a way to get to my money all weekend long until I got into the bank. So and I think a lot of it's happening from overseas. I think a lot of it is happening from overseas, and I won't mention countries, but maybe Russia and maybe Nigeria and places like that. So yeah, you have to be very careful. You have to be very vigilant, don't you think?
Even when you're vigilant, it still happens.
So, do you have a suggestion or some place that people can call, or
The first thing you got to do is make a habit every single month. Go through your statement, your monthly statement, and check and make sure, because it'll show up on it. And like you said, you can do 2 ways. You can go in and look, and you can look up each individual check. But I wasn't doing that. I was looking at the check and so on. If you have auto pays and all that, and if that will show up on your statement. It's the ones that you write a check, like to my church, $300. That won't have their name on it. I don't know why, but it won't. And it's for a number of years I didn't know that until this happened. And then I realized that what I've been looking at up above wasn't all of it, and down there they left out who it's paid to. But anyway, so I had them get me all the checks, and I looked them over, and we found 4. And then while we're working on those 4, I went to the sheriff, turned it in. While we're working on them, darn if they didn't hit it for 4 more times.
It's a lot of work too, isn't it? It's a lot of work. It really is. It's a shame when that happens, especially when it happens this time of the year. They're out earning extra money for the holidays. I guess it's terrible. But Don, I'm so sorry this has happened to you. I guess the principles we bring away from this are vigilance.
You just got to check closely every month. I thought I was, and then.
In particular, watch for phishing.
Then I got a second account, of course, and they didn't want me to close the first one because there was still fraudulent going on, and I had 3 auto pays. I had to, at the end of the month, the first one was county right here in San Bernardino. That was easy. Walked in, walked out, it was all changed. But the other 2, one was from the state and to retirement, and that one I contacted them, and they said even after they had all the paperwork, it was going to take another 50 days. Can you believe 50 days?
Oh, my gosh.
You should have heard me putting there hollering at them, screaming at them. You can hear my voice go up now.
It's terrible.
And it is terrible. So they said even after that, it'll take 50 days after they get all the information. And so anyway, I don't think it quite took that, but it did take a while. So what I had to do, and then I had one other with Social Security. So what I had to do, at the end of the month, just before the end of the month, they'll get deposited a day or 2 or 3 early. And so I had to wait until they got in there, and then I'd rush to the bank and have them transfer it out over to the new account. And that worked out. So I didn't lose anything on that. That worked out. Finally, we did get everything, all the auto deposits taken care of on the new account. got all the auto pays transferred to the new account. And some of them I took off of it and did other things with it. But
It is such a pain and such a.
so it's okay now.
Takes-
Nothing. I still have it opened. They hit me. There's 4 additional ones they had just because they didn't want me to close it. The bank didn't. So I said, well, maybe I can't close it, but I'm darn sure don't have to leave any money in it. So I just took all the money but a penny. And the only reason I bumped it up to $40 is because at that time it wasn't cold and I wasn't using gas, natural gas at my gas company, and it was $20 a month. So I put 40 in it. I left 40 in it, 40 and 1 penny. And a couple of times they paid auto pay to the gas company till I got it changed. And then now everything's fine. The last 3 months there's been nothing happening. There's only $40 and a penny. So, and they actually charged me some overdrafts, but they waived them.
Well, I would like to tell you to go to the Consumer Protection Agency, but there's no longer a Consumer Protection Agency because it's been eliminated by the Trump administration. But what I can tell you is to be vigilant, to make sure you stay away from phishing schemes. If someone calls you and asks you to state information to you that they would already have, like a bank, they say they're Bank of California or something like that, and they say, please give us your social security number. Do not do that because, of course, your bank will have that. Your bank will have that information. Stay away from particularly getting an email that is asking you for information. In particular, in an email that has a link to click through to your bank, don't go there. Don't click on it. Find your bank's email, the address, the internet address to your bank, like bofa.com, and go to that and go from there.
Call them.
You go directly to the website. Don't click through an email to the website. It might sound like it's easy, and it may even look like it's Bank of America or Chase or something like that. It's not.
I know.
Most definitely isn't, because that's not what they do. So be careful of phishing schemes. Be careful. Be vigilant. I'm so sorry that happened to you, Don.
I get that all the time on the emails and stuff, and I just ignore it.
Right. And think, ladies and gentlemen, if that can happen to Donald Williamson, a former tax assessor, it can happen to anybody. So we really, really encourage you to be careful and be safe this
But also
season.
go over your credit card statements too, because
That's right.
I had my MasterCard 2 years ago. I had it hacked twice. And again, if it wasn't for the auto pays I have on it, it'd have been no big thing. For most people, they just close that account, open up a new one. They take off the fraudulent ones and clear up your credit, and everything would be fine. But mine's a little more involved than that.
Well, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
It can happen at any time, so you have to keep things and keep watching things. There are things that you can subscribe to online, companies that will help you do that too, and they'll insure you as well, but it takes a little bit of money there. And
Yeah, you have
if
to
you're
pay
on a
for
budget,
it.
you have to pay for
the
it.
protection.
That's right. So,
I get a little protection through AAA. If you have the 200-mile towing, that's their highest limit. You get a whole bunch of freebie things, and one of them is protection against credit fraud.
oh, there you go.
And so
Good company.
I've got to go into them and ask them what it is they can do about it, if they can do anything.
Well, let's move on to something a little
I'm
bit
done.
brighter, and thank you. That's Donald Williamson's Taxpayer and Saver and More tip for the day.
And sadness.
But now it is Christmas time, and I mentioned earlier we're decorating for a Christmas season, and we had a book author here, Larry Burns, here not too long ago, and it's a book entitled 100 Things to Do in Riverside Before You Die. That doesn't sound like it, but it is really a great book. I recommend you get it. You get it at various different places, the American Nature Center, Arlington Arts Grill, Arts Bar and Grill, on the Art Walk, all kinds of different places have this. It's well known in Riverside. And tip number 30, we can have some Christmas music here, is catching the festival lights on the first Thursday in December and experience the city's premier monthly arts event, Arts Walk, during the city's signature annual event. And, of course, this is at the Mission Inn in downtown Redlands. It's the Festival Lights, recognized by USA Today as one of the best public light displays
You
in
said
the nation.
Redlands. Did you mean Riverside?
Did I say Redlands? Riverside, another R word, Riverside. And so, yes, this is an annual thing that goes on, and it just transforms the city into a radiant wonderland.
Love it.
It's great. Go down there, take some time out, take your mind off things. You can stroll along Main Street. You can immerse yourself in the festive spirit of Christmas. And this is the best time of the year, I think, because we need to step away from things and, just kind of get back to family and friends. And, you can engage in craft making. You can enjoy some live music, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes here. We have some delightful people joining us from Symphony Jeunesse. We're going to talk about that. There's live performances, street musicians, and, of course, the exhilarating light display. They have a Ferris wheel this year, by the way. And, if you want a more tranquil experience, you can consider visiting post-Christmas as the lights stay on until the first week of January. And that's at Main and Mission Avenue in Riverside, Main and Mission Avenue. Eric Casario is from Riverside. He's going to go down there. I imagine you've been there already.
Oh yeah, I already been there a couple times this year. It's nice that I live not too far from the mission and all that.
You can get hot cocoa at night and all that.
You know that. Take the kiddo. There's a Ferris wheel over there as well. You can ride that. I also wanted to mention that it won Newsweek's Reader's Choice Award for the #1 best holiday light show. So that in all of the U.S. So it won #1 out of Newsweek's Reader's Choice. So I wanted to shout that out.
Mission Inn, that's
Let's
right.
go.
Something local, and it's well known and nationally known. So that's the one thing you can do as we enjoy some Christmas music here. It is delight now. We're going to pre-introduce them before we go to the break, and we're going to spend the last part of the half hour of the show talking about this. But Symphony Jeunesse, and we have some M's in the room today. I'm Mark Westwood, of course. And then we have Michael, right?
Yes, that's
Michael,
correct.
and Michelle.
Yes.
And it's Takia.
Yes.
Takia. Michael, Michelle, Takia. Husband and wife, obviously, right?
Yes.
Not brother and sister, husband and wife, right?
Yes.
And we have some things in common. We both went to Cal State San Bernardino. And you were involved in music there, too, as well?
Both
Yes.
music majors.
Was there a string program there?
Oh, yes.
There was, yeah.
Well, actually, they had to build one for kind of kids like me.
Symphony Jeunesse is what we're going to be talking about. It's a youth orchestra for strings in all places right here in San Bernardino.
Yes.
And that's such a neat thing to know. My brother and a couple of my cousins participated in the All-City Youth Symphony back in the day.
Yeah.
I saw some keepsake for programs back not too long ago. My brother, I somehow or other inherited his violin, and he hadn't played for so long. And he says, "Boy, I wish I had my violin." I said, "I still have your violin," and I got it restrung for him, and all redone. And here you go. Here's your violin. And he's living in Mexico, and he took it back to Mexico, and he's playing it now.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So, first of all, you need to be commended for doing this. You've been doing it a long time, is that correct?
Thank you. Yes, I founded this orchestra in 2008 in the summer, June.
2008. Symphony Jeunesse, huh?
Yeah, in season 17 now.
And you're in season 17. And let's quickly go over. Jeunesse means?
Youth. I gave it the French title in a way to honor my father. He was born and raised in France before he came to the United States. And he isn't alive anymore and hasn't been able to hear any of my work. But yes, I just wanted to, instead of just calling it youth orchestra, I wanted to give it something
Some
with a little more
savoir-faire.
yes, with
Jeunesse.
a little flair.
Francophile accent.
Francophile
Yes.
accent, yeah. And that's so great. And, we're going to talk about this a couple of times, but I'm going to announce it right now. Symphony Jeunesse Youth Orchestra for Strings is going to be presenting a concert at the First Presbyterian Church Fellowship Hall, and that's at 19th and D Street, also 1900 North D Street officially,
Yes.
in San Bernardino on Sunday, coming up, December 14th. Perfect to get in the Christmas spirit. It's at 3 p.m. The concert's free.
It is free. We're suggesting that attendees maybe bring something non-perishable food item for the food distribution program that they have there at the church instead of needing to buy a ticket. But I think that would be a lovely addition to the concert.
And this will be particularly poignant because you're going to honor a friend.
Yes, we are. When I first started this orchestra in 2008, we were interviewed by Michael Nolan, who was journalist with The Sun, and she
had the article, A Brand New Day.
Yes, she did. And she sat, I'll never forget, she sat in back of the orchestra and tears were falling on her face. She was so moved by these 12 young kids who were first starting this orchestra, just 12 of them, all about ages 13, no, they were younger than that, but I would say ages 12 to 17 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And she just started writing about us and did for pretty much every concert that we gave.
That's wonderful. She was a very nice lady. I met her on several occasions as well.
Yes.
Didn't know her that well, but I did meet her through community activities, and she was very active and a bright sunshine all the time. She seemed very positive
Absolutely.
and a very happy person. And she passed away November 25th
Yes, I believe so.
at 81 years old.
Yeah.
And, of course, she will be dearly missed by our community. This music on this concert will reflect, by the way, compositions by women.
Yes. Last night, as it happens, we were invited to play for the AAUW, the American Association of University Women, at the University of Redlands. And there must have been about 150 women and people in the audience to hear us. And when I first got that invitation, I thought how lovely it would be to present maybe the first 4 or 5 or 6 pieces by women composers and women arrangers.
How wonderful, how wonderful. We are about, at that time, we're going to take a break, but I want to listen to one whole piece here of music. And so the first piece I gave you today, Eric, can you play that through? We're going to introduce and listen to the Symphony Jeunesse Youth Orchestra for strings from San Bernardino, California, and then we'll talk more about the orchestra after this.
Thank you.
Southern California's Inland Talk Express is KCAA.
Community Matters. The San Bernardino County Museum hosts a series of art exhibitions throughout the year. Dr. Casey Lee, curator of art and exhibitions, shares details of the current exhibition, Expectations, A Better World Through Art, Music, and Respect.
This is a community show in partnership with the Inland Empire Latino Art Association, and it is a celebration of Hispanic art and culture. So this year we have chosen expectations as a theme, and it is both looking inward, what expectations do we have for ourselves, but also outward, what expectations do we bring out and approach the world. And it has a broader application to what we call art. So here in the physical space, we have an array of materials. We have paintings and photography, but we also have sculpture and mixed media. And this is also broadened into the written word. So we have speaking events with an author. We will also have performances, both musical and physical. So we will be having a yoga program here. All of it is related to the exhibition Expectations. So it is how individuals sort of embody and think about expectations and are bringing that expectations to the public.
The museum received several submissions, making it difficult to narrow down the intake process.
Well, it was a very exciting process. This was my first time doing any show like this, especially working with the county museum, and the turnout was spectacular. I've been told this is the biggest turnout that they've ever received. We received applications from over 80 artists, and in order to continue the spirit of community, we tried to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to participate. So what that looks like is that while we had well over 100 submissions of artwork, we had to narrow it down and make difficult choices. But I think the end result is a clear narrative about how identity and politics play into creating.
Casey has more exhibitions on the calendar that will be coming in the near future.
The exhibition will be up until December 14th. This is the longest the show has ever been up. Usually it's a 1-month-long celebration, but now we have the opportunity to keep our doors open for this longer.
The exhibition, Expectations, A Better World Through Art, Music, and Respect, will be on display through December 14th on the second floor of the San Bernardino County Museum, located in Redlands on Orange Tree Lane. For Community Matters, I'm Lillian Vasquez.
Celebrate the holiday season with Inland Pacific Ballet's The Nutcracker. Set to Tchaikovsky's classic score, follow Clara from the land of snow through the kingdom of sweets. With more than 80 dancers and special guest artists, exquisite sets, costumes, and cherished scenes. A must-see holiday tradition for all ages. Experience SoCal's signature holiday production with 4 performances at Bridges Auditorium in Claremont on December 13th and 14th, and 3 at Fox Performing Arts Center in Riverside on December 20th and 21st. Tickets are available at ipballet.org. That's ipballet.org.
KCAA.
KCAA 1050 AM 106.5. I'm Mark Westwood, along with Eric Osario running the controls in the control room, and Donald Williamson at the other end of the table, our co-host. And we're delighted to have Michael and Michelle Takia.
Takia. Just think zucchini and you'll have
Zucchini.
it.
Takia. Zucchini. Yeah. And they're from Symphony Jeunesse Youth Orchestra for strings. And I'm going to give them a quick PSA here real quick. They're going to be presenting a concert at First Presbyterian Church, Fellowship Hall, 1900 North D Street in San Bernardino, on Sunday, December 14th at 3 p.m. The concert is free, but it's suggested that attendees bring a non-perishable food item for the church's long-established food distribution program as a donation. And by the way, Donald Williamson just gave you a little donation, too. That was
you,
nice.
Don.
Certainly did.
And
Very happy
A
to.
very generous donation.
we were talking about donations during the break. How can people donate?
Well, Don suggested that if people were not able to attend that day, I know a lot is going on at that time of year and on that very weekend, that they might mail in a donation to Symphony Jeunesse. Our P.O. Box number is P.O. Box 21077, and it should be addressed to Symphony Jeunesse. That's JEUNESSE.
And
What city is that?
It is in San Bernardino, and it's 92406.
And by the way, we're talking with Michelle Takia, and she's the director and founder of the orchestra. And it's a youth orchestra, and they're going to have, it's going to honor the memory of her dear friend Michael Nolan, who was a Sun newspaper columnist for many, many years. Some of you remember her name, and the column A Brand New Day. And she was very involved in the community. And if you want to donate in her memory, I think
Yes.
that would be a nice thing, too.
That would be very lovely, yes.
So tell our audience one more time how they donate.
That would be Symphony Jeunesse, JEUNESSE. That means youth. And the P.O. Box is 21077, San Bernardino, 92406.
Okay. And we will do that, and we'll figure that out, what P.O. Box or not the zip code is. But you've written many, Michelle wrote many articles on the concerts and tours and adventures of the orchestra in the Sun over the years. So they do want to honor her, and she's a good friend. The music on this concert will reflect compositions by women composers, music from film scores, original compositions for youth string orchestra, and traditional carols as well. Sorry about that. Carols, I sometimes stumble. I speak for a living, but not very well. And the audience members will sit at tables. You'll have cookies and cider, and be enjoying listening to this fine group of dedicated young musicians and their fine symphony music.
Yes.
And that's not something you find readily around here. They do have the San Bernardino Symphony. Redlands has a symphony orchestra as well, directed by my friend James Bonatti, if you know James.
Oh, I don't,
Oh, we know
James. Yes,
James.
I do.
Yeah, a good friend of mine.
Yes,
and,
ours do.
And they have their concerts too as well. He, I think, is no longer, but he might still be directing Redlands High School marching band. I'm not quite sure. He did it for a number of years.
I
do know
thought he
that.
went into administration.
He might have gone into administration now. I just ran into him not too long ago at a restaurant in downtown Redlands, which I will not name. But anyway, I'm not giving them any plugs. But
They got to pay for that, huh?
I got to pay for that plug now. Anyway, it is so neat that you're doing this, and you're to be commended. Both Michael and Michelle, Michael, her husband, is sitting here. They're very proud of this, and you should be. a youth orchestra. So tell us about this youth orchestra. First of all, if you have a young musician, how would someone get connected with you?
Oh, very good. Thank you. We do have a website. I am not techno smart, so it's not in my wheelhouse. I don't do it, but they could certainly just look up Symphonie Jeunesse, spelled not symphony, but IE at the end, symphonie, the French spelling.
The French spelling.
And
Jeunesse is Jeunesse.
Yes, and I think if they
I did that. I found you.
Yes, okay. And so
Excellent.
I think they could find us that way.
But I have to tell our listeners, I ran into a problem. Whoever's doing your website is using a web template service or whatever, and somehow or other they don't have the URL address right. So it comes up like 404 warning error or whatever.
Oh my.
But it lists all the other web pages, sub-web pages like activities and concerts and all that. Click on one of those,
Okay.
and you'll get into the web page for sure. And then you can go back to the home, and you'll be fine, and you can get through the whole website. But it's just a little thing. It's perfectly safe, everybody. There's nothing wrong with the website. You won't self-destruct. It's not
That's good to know.
Yes.
Thank you, Mark. That's
And-
very good to know.
Michael is on my board, and so I will speak to them at the next meeting about making
Okay.
corrections.
Yeah,
to that.
and it's happened with websites that I do too. I'm not a big web developer, so I use these website services like Weebly or
Yes.
all those kind of things, and I think that sometimes you don't quite. It's a security certificate problem, and it doesn't make sense to me. But you go to HTTPS instead of HTTP. The HTTPS on your domain, when you redirect from whatever you built the website to your domain name, then it'll be okay.
Okay.
We got off on that, but I
No,
want our
that's
listeners
good.
to be able to
Good
find
to
you.
know.
Very good. Thank you.
It looks like it's
Thank you.
.org for listeners. It's .org. It's their symphony name .org.
Okay. Symphony.
Thank you.
And spelled with the E on the end. Symphonie.
Yes.
Jeunesse.org. Thank you, Eric. He's always so very helpful. He's a great
Thank
guy.
you, Eric.
It is wonderful that you do this. How many members of the orchestra do you have? And what are their ages?
It varies. I've had as many, well, when we first started, it was 12 members, but it has grown. It's been as large as 35, and it usually is between 20 and 25, which is a lovely chamber orchestra size.
Now, do you just have strings, or do you have flutes, woodwinds?
Just strings. It is youth orchestra for strings, mostly because so many of the schools don't really have strong strings programs in place. In fact, that's how and why I started this. In 2008, a young 15-year-old student who had studied with me in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade on violin at one of the elementary schools in town came almost with tears in her eyes. Mrs. Takia, do you think you ever might start a youth orchestra for kids like me? And I've been there before, so I know how she felt. She was told she could take out her violin and go sit with the flutes over there in the band. And I said, that's not okay. So I didn't know how I was going to get started. I didn't know anything about raising funds. I didn't know it. I just worked teaching strings in the school district and played my cello, of course, professionally. And so...
You may mention Ernie Garcia for...
yes.
Well, I know Ernie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's passed
He
now.
has
Yes.
passed, yes. But I was in a music board meeting of a music chamber music society that both Michael and I were co-founders of, and I spoke to him seriously. I said, "Is there a way that we can have a youth orchestra in this community?" And he said, "Write me a proposal." Just then and there.
That was
So-
Ernie Garcia asking you that.
Yes.
Dr. Ernie Garcia. So I was going to ask you where you rehearsed, but I think I know now.
Yes, you do.
You want to tell
Well,
people where you rehearsed?
what happened was the members of that board of the Community Concert Association couldn't say yes fast enough to starting a youth orchestra in our town. And they said to me, "But where will you rehearse?" And I said, "Now that's a problem." So they said, "Let us speak amongst ourselves, and I will get back to you." So most of the members of that board go to church at the First Presbyterian Church, and they came back to me with, "We have a room for you at no charge, and you just come and the kids and rehearse there every week."
So you rehearse at the First Presbyterian
Yes,
Church.
on Saturday mornings.
On Saturday mornings. That's wonderful. And what's your source for getting these young people?
Well,
Good question.
yeah. When I was teaching in the public schools,
And will they release their cell phones or their smartphones from one hand, or do they play like with the cell
yeah,
phones
no.
in one hand?
Another good question.
yeah, no, I tell them that we have to put those away. There's nothing so urgent that it can't wait for a few minutes while we have rehearsal. So they put them away, and I said, and not even on vibrate, because one day in a rehearsal, one of the violists was playing her viola, and I saw her go, ooh, and I knew her phone was vibrating in her back pocket. So we turned them off completely.
Are you a very strict director, disciplinarian?
Well,
or?
I am strict with kindness. We are there.
You're firm.
Yes, we're there for only 3 hours plus a break, so it's very short time.
Per week.
Yes, once a week.
That's pretty good.
I always tell them I'm jealous of your band or orchestra teacher at your school because they get you 5 days a week. I get you only once, and the children, the young musicians are so dedicated. They come to rehearsal. They give up their Saturday morning to be with us.
That is wonderful. And do they perform? They participate in what types of things? How do these young people come to pick up a violin these days, or a viola, or a bass, or?
I think they probably listen to something on, I'm guessing, YouTube, and they all of a sudden hear it. I think at some schools, though, there is a program in place where they bring in instruments, they show them to probably third graders, and play a little something for them and say, in fourth grade, you can sign up for this program.
So let's cut for a minute and listen to a little bit more. We have another piece that you played at California Adventure a while ago. And to tell you, this isn't a holiday piece, but this is more of a serious piece. But it demonstrates the musicianship of this young orchestra. And they probably even improved since then. So Eric, with no further ado, Symphonie Jeunesse.
Outside, the recording was done outside at California Adventure. That's why the sound is so sort of blurred and distant. But Disneyland then invited us for 10 consecutive years to play there after they drew such a big crowd from Symphonie Jeunesse. And so,
wow, that is incredible. I've played at Disneyland too. It's kind of a fun thing for the kids to do.
It is.
Excellent,
We
yes.
we had to audition. It wasn't just come and play here. We had to pass audition, of course.
For our listeners who are just joining us, we're just heard from Symphonie Jeunesse, a recording from several years back. It's a youth orchestra for strings based in none other than San Bernardino, California. They rehearse at the First Presbyterian Church. We're speaking with their founder and director, a wonderful lady named Michelle Takia. And Michael, her husband, was just speaking just a minute ago. My phone is now vibrating, even though these things are hard to not get to do. What
Oh, isn't that the truth?
anyway, and they have an incredible thing they do. They direct an orchestra of youth musicians, and how many musicians?
This year it's about 22.
22. What's a good sized little
Yes.
orchestra?
Very good.
And you perform at various different places, or where do you perform at?
We do. We are often invited to play in other communities outside of San Bernardino. Our kids come from as far away as Beaumont Banning to Rancho, and then all of the towns in between, Rialto, Fontana, San Bernardino, Redlands, Corona, sometimes the mountains. It just depends.
Tell them about their annual tour.
Every June, we take a tour to Central Coast, California, to Cambria.
Oh.
And sometimes we play in Santa Barbara or other communities along the way. But our main destination is Cambria, California, and we have an audience there who adore these children, and I mean, young musicians. And they ask for them all year long. Are the kids coming? Is the orchestra coming? So they're very excited to have them each year.
What's the average age of the musicians?
They are between ages 11 and 22.
Young to 22.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
That's neat.
I didn't want them to go off to, say, a junior college or a school where there was no orchestra unless you were a music major and not have a place to play. So I said, this door is open. You know where we are. Just please come back and bring your instrument.
And I know from performing in various different wind ensembles and things like that, I actually wrote the bylaws and founded a group called Main Street Music
Yes.
way back in the day. It's a wind ensemble that's been under a couple of different derivatives of people directing it. Lori Cardos was one of them, Paul Cardos years ago.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
I was under the tutelage of Paul Cardos.
Oh,
wow.
wonderful.
Yeah, at San Bernardino Valley College.
That's a
And-
very familiar name.
and,
Paul
then,
Cardos.
and then at Cal State San Bernardino, Jeff Tower, who was also the director at Hemet. And so I really appreciate music and youth.
Excellent.
And,
Thank you.
it really helps young people. It's another language.
Yes.
It's not just, I think you should actually get credit for speaking a foreign language if you can play music.
Absolutely.
I agree. I
know?
couldn't agree more.
You have to learn the whole language. You have to learn the characters. You have to learn the time, the beat, intonation. By the way, I have to commend you. I was listening to that piece, and it had pretty darn good intonation for those
Thank
young
you.
players.
Thank you. That's something that we strive for. In string music, you have to play in tune. You just must. And we work on that very hard.
Yeah, that's not an easy task to do.
No.
And-
In fact, we played many times for the Rotary, but one evening, one of the Rotarians raised his hand and he said, "How do you find your notes? I used to play the guitar and we have frets, but you have nothing, just that black wood there."
That's the fingertips of the
Yeah.
feeling,
Yeah.
And that's just. There's nothing better, by the way, than to play a musical instrument, and it's never too late to
Never
to
too
learn how to play a musical instrument.
I've often said that I have never met a valedictorian or salutatorian in college who had not studied music.
In high
and
school.
in high school, and I still maintain that. And Michelle has had 5 valedictorians and salutatorians in the orchestra just in past years that have gone on to very famous colleges after this.
And it may be more by now, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I saw a study one time, 33 to 35% increase in academic performance among young kids who play instruments.
Yes.
Now, maybe not tuba players, but especially people who play violins, and,
Yeah.
or as my uncle used to call the fiddle.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of styles of music. And do you
Yeah.
experiment in those styles? Or?
We do a little bit. A lot of the choices that the young musicians want are film music scores. So I try to find arrangements
Like the one
for-
you just played
Yes.
from Disneyland.
Yeah,
And that was from.
So I
had to dig a little bit for that,
Yeah,
but I found
yeah.
it. Yeah.
so I try to find things that they enjoy and would like to try and play in orchestra. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have. What's their favorite piece to play right now?
Oh gosh. Well, let's see. Last semester it was the music from La La Land, And in fact, they approached me and they said, "Oh, Mrs. T, have you seen La
I
La
love
Land?"
that music.
Oh, okay. They said, "Have you seen La La Land?" And I said, "Well, no." And they said, "Oh, please see it. And then we need to find the music." So Michael and I watched it, and we didn't last long. We probably gave up after about a half an hour, and we didn't watch the rest. So
But it ends well. We went back and really did appreciate it after.
It kind of slows down.
Yes.
A little,
well, we came back to orchestra rehearsal, and they said, "Well, did you see La La Land?" And we said, "Well, yes." We finally watched it all the way through, and they said, "Well, did you just love the music? It's so wonderful."
I'm sure we can play some of that.
I realized that was something very important to the young musicians. So I did find a version for just string orchestra, and oh my word, they were just so happy and so glad. So
You know, it's not easy when you have to buy an orchestral piece like that. I imagine it costs a little bit of money.
it does, it does,
What
and
does something like that run these days?
oh gosh, probably about $85 for a score and parts.
That's just one music piece.
That's
Yeah.
just one,
Just
music
one
piece.
piece.
yes.
And we usually play 10 to 12 pieces on a program. They're not very long pieces, but still, you have to fill up a program.
Yeah, and getting that sheet music, I remember at San Bernardino Valley College, I was an alumni there, and I caught wind that they were kind of dismantling the band program, unfortunately, a few years back when they were doing the whole conversion of the campus and deconstructing, demolishing and building the new campus up. And I was so mad at this guy named David Lawrence. He got rid of a bunch of orchestration and music, just threw them in the trash.
Wasn't he in the art department?
Yes.
He
Yeah.
threw them out.
He threw them out. And I saved the practice pianos. I made
Thank
a
you.
big stink. And
Good for you.
we got them all over there to a Center for Disabilities. And that's the last I heard of them. But, yeah, it was just like, oh, yeah, you're an art teacher. You teach pottery and glass blowing. And, I just handed it to I still hand it to I don't even know if he's alive anymore, but I was so mad at that guy.
He is not.
He's not. Okay. Anyway, I got to tell you that though they have reconstructed North Hall and put a band room back in it, an orchestra room back in it. It's on the south side of the campus, but they still call it North Hall. So I don't know why, if that's a direction or somebody named North. But they do have a very fine band program now. They're started up, and a young music teacher started there again too.
Very
So you
good.
might want to connect with her. Please don't ask names right now because
Okay.
I have CRS sometimes.
Well, that's what my dad used to have.
But we did do that, and we just have about 5 minutes here. And if you're just joining us, I want to fill you in. Symphony Jeunesse, it's a youth orchestra for strings, and they are delightful people to have here. Michael and Michelle Takia, and I admire you for their volunteerism and your community activism. And you're not getting a paycheck for doing this.
Well, no. No.
Not at all. And so this is giving of your time and back to the community. You're to be commended so much for this,
Thank
You're not being paid by a university or a high school or a college or
No.
a school district or anything. It's just all volunteer
Yeah.
for the love of music.
Yes, it
It's
is.
kind of like how I do radio and how Eric does radio sometimes here at KCA, huh? You really don't get rich here.
Well, so much was given to us as young people in music. And when we finished our graduate degree, we just thought, let's go back to our hometown and give back to kids who, want to do.
And did you get that graduate degree from Cal State University San Bernardino?
No, that was undergraduate degrees.
Undergraduate, I didn't think they had that program there yet.
Yeah,
No,
we
we
went on to many programs after that. We went to Boston, New England Conservatory. We went to Vienna, Austria, and studied there at the
Impressive.
Vienna International Music Center there for a year, and then we went to San Francisco, and then to San Diego,
State.
and that was where our degree was from.
And this is how you two met, is through music, by the way?
No,
No, we met before we went to Cal State
We met
Oh.
when
at the
Michael
California Theater.
Michael was
Oh.
18 and I was 17. I was still in high school.
Robbing
and he
the
was,
cradle.
He was at Cal State in the music department, and our seats were a gift from a violin teacher in the area, who bought a row of chairs for a concert at
Let
the
me guess,
California
Marty
Theater.
Handelman?
No, that's a good guess.
That's a
and
very
he's a
good
dear
guess.
friend too.
Okay.
But it was a man this is probably before your time. Frank Scully, Mr. Frank Scully.
I remember the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was a violin teacher, and Michael was accompanying his students for their recitals. And he gave a whole row of tickets. And so my brother and I went. My brother's a professional violinist. And in fact, he's the reason that we go on tour to Cambria, because that's his area. Anyway, he gave us a row of tickets, and ours were next to each other. And when the Izolisti de Zagreb, which is the group that was the chamber music group that was playing that evening, in the program it said they were going to play the Divertimento K136 in D major by Mozart. I just said under my breath, "Oh, I just played that with my group in Los Angeles."
I
and
was
Michael,
in love right away.
Michael said, "You what?" And so
I already loved the cello, and then to find out
And
she was
that's
a
the
cellist,
story of, and
that
that's
was
the
it.
glory of love.
Exactly.
Wow.
He said cello.
That's
that-
Eric Casaria.
that was 53 years ago.
53 years ago. Congratulations.
you.
Thank you. A little tidbit in addition to that, we found out after being together a year that we both grew up in the same house in
Fontana.
Wow, that's incredible.
That was it.
And old Donald Williamson is from Fontana.
Well, Fontana High School.
Oh, of course.
Well, I was graduated in 72.
I was sooner than that.
Yes. But you're
Well,
at the same
I'm
time,
starting to
sister-
hear the
I was
music
class
here.
of 62.
I'm starting to hear the music here. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Symphony Jeunesse Youth Orchestra for Strings. Their concert is December 14th at 3 p.m. in San Bernardino. The concert's free. Bring a gift item or something as a donation. Long-established concert director Michelle Takia and her husband Michael. It's been a delight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. And thank,
Thank you
Don.
so much,
Thank you
Mark.
so much.
That was
Thank
a
you, Eric.
pleasure.
Thank you. We'll
Eric.
end this with La La Land so that
Very good.
you can hear what the people.
I had to
listen
work on that jazz solo, so I'd like to hear it now.
KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 FM. Mark Westwood along with Donald Williamson. Not quite LA 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 Land,
That
but
is familiar
in the
music.
Empire Land.
One of our favorite tunes from
KCAA.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working